a sense in the environment that I work that if I don't know, I feel a little block of saying to them, teaching them.
The question is, will it lose its effectiveness?
If I call it karmic cleansing or setting things right as opposed to
I'd say it will lose its effectiveness. It depends on your own feelings and how you accept it yourself. You're the operator. You see, I feel that because I don't. I think there are qualms that you have. Probably you're not too sold on the idea. It's okay too.
Oh, I'm sold on the idea. I'm sold. I feel an opposition within myself in sharing.
That's
with
what
people.
This is
not the process. What it's called.
Yeah, but try it out anyway and see.
Okay.
Yes.
May I ask how we use this Honokohau on ourselves to clear a karmic block?
You do the same thing when you're working yourself, between yourself and whatever situations that you've had from the beginning of your creation. But if you know your block may be in a Japanese lifetime, you go into that area and specifically pinpoint. There's a possibility. Or maybe in all lifetimes you were Egyptian, Chinese, or Japanese. But the thing is, whatever the problem that is disturbing you, and that problem, wherever its relationship is coming from, where the source is, and this is what you're going to trace back. Because you're pinpointing your effort upon a specific situation. So you're using that as a nucleus, and you want to find where did it come from. So through this process, you're able to go and trace it right back. You don't have to know, because the divine knows. The forces will move and reallocate the things. Yes.
Is it all right if you do know the past life memory to go to the past life memory and then do the Ho'oponopono?
Question is, if you do know your past lives, you could go into that. Yes, you could. But there are possibilities, if we're working on a case, that this case does not refer to that. But if you feel it is, then it's much easier for you. But lots of people don't know what their past lives are. 75% of my problems with my patients are from past lives. Yes.
I was just wondering, this girl works on the airlines. She said she works on the airlines and she deals with thousands people a day. And I work in a restaurant and I deal with a whole bunch of people. I was just wondering to share with you what I do. I do a Ho'oponopono like where my face will work in the building. For her, she could do it for the whole plane and the pilot and everyone that's in the airplane, from where they're going to take her from to where they're going to go. The whole thing, just do it once and cover the whole thing like an umbrella, because you don't have time to be doing it for each person. And then, and when you get to your destination, and before you go on another plane to wherever else you're going to go, you do the same thing. I find it too. When I work, take care of the whole works before I get there.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, thank you, Martha. It is true, because like you're in an airline, then the moment it reaches its destination, or wherever it is, or you're starting to go, you start from that point of departure to the point of arrival. Now, if it's going from here to San Francisco, from Honolulu, the point of departure, it crosses over the water, it crosses over the land, and so forth, other areas till you reach that state and back. So you're clearing up both ways, both for the passenger, the staff, and the plane itself, and the areas that you're moving to and from.
Would that be 7 points of protection that she's talking about with that Martha's mentioned?
Excuse me, Mama. I just want to be sure and do it for yourself first. And then you do for...
Would that be the 7 points of protection?
No, it doesn't have to be 7 points. Could be, yes.
Would a prayer like the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, wherever God is, I am going to.
It's good. Yeah, it is good. The man's suggestion about the affirmation he's using is good. It's good. See, there are many ways of doing it. Whatever approach makes you feel good, go ahead and do so. Yes.
When you were at the conference before and there were tapes made and they were made available to us, I bought one, or I bought the ones that you had made, and you described a situation where a woman had wrapped a rainbow around her son only, and the rest of the people died in the crash. Well, I'd like to share something that happened to.
Would you mind coming up here? Yes.
On Easter weekend, my husband and I were traveling to Jefferson, Texas, and my daughter, Marty, who's here in the audience, was traveling to Austin and San Antonio, and then to the Houston area, out to an island. And part of the trip going to Jefferson, I got a strong impression that they would be flying in an airplane, which she had intimated they might take a trip over to one of the islands for a day's picnic. Well, I got a strong impression on Saturday to wrap the plane in rainbows, as Morrnah had described. Well, that was fine. I goofed. Sunday night, she called. The plane had crashed. Everyone in the plane was fine, but the undercarriage had been ripped off, the tail, the wings, and everything else. They went down in a terrible fog by following the instructions of the Weather Bureau rather than their own intuition. All 4 individuals on board were extremely psychic people, and they really knew that they shouldn't have been flying. So I just wanted to share that do wrap more than the fuselage up.
Well, that reminds me because of the fact that when a friend of mine was going to visit, I think this is the thing that I shared, she was coming back, she was picking up the thought that her son, who flies planes from here to Vietnam and back, was very exhausted. So she kept talking and talking, so I thought to myself, here, her little radar was picking up this. So I suggested to her that when we got off, that we say a short prayer, and that she was to wrap her son up, and wrap the plane and the passengers. And so she said, why should I do that? Because I don't believe in prayer. Well, I said, you do love your son, don't you? I said, yes, I do. So she did that. But as I looked at my watch, I saw the time. Well, we got to the hotel, and the very next morning, the Army hospital called that her son was in a plane crash. He didn't have any scratches on him, but the plane was completely demolished and everybody died. So I said, how did you wrap? I thought you wrapped the plane. She said, I didn't do it because I didn't think it was necessary. Depends on what you do. Did you wrap the plane with the rainbow?
I wrapped the plane, but only the fuselage, not the wings and the tail and the undercarriage.
See, this is why it's important to be very thorough about what you do. Like this lady, she wrapped her son, but the passengers weren't wrapped, the plane wasn't wrapped, and her son was in the hospital just recuperating. So when I looked at the time that we did was 15 minutes before the crash. And we did it here in Honolulu, and the crash was in the mainland. So it proves that that your thought, the moment it's released, is received on the other end instantaneously. Thank you very much. Good night. And it'll affect all of you.